fall is quickly going to be upon us, and that is the perfect time to do landscaping in your yard. Do you need some projects done, but you're just not sure what shrubs that you want to put in your yard? Stay tuned, because I have got my top 5 favorite shrubs. Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. I am Jenny, and today we are going to do another little series of my top 5 favorites, and today it is going to be all about shrubs. So my top 5 favorite shrubs, and they all come from proven winners today. So this, again, not in any kind of order because they're all amazing shrubs, but this could be my #1 favorite at all. So I'll just start with number 1. Number 1 is the Limelight and Little Lime hydrangea. Now, I know technically that is 2 shrubs, but it's basically the mama and the baby, so I consider them one shrub together. Limelights and Little Limes. What is the difference and why are they so amazing? Well, they are both panicle hydrangeas, which means they have those great big cone-shaped, kind of football-shaped blooms on them. In fact, right behind me is a Limelight that we have had in our yard probably for somewhere between 8 to 10 years. So you can just see how amazing it is. But obviously, Limelight gets pretty big. It can get anywhere from 6 to 8, and I dare say 9 feet tall, whereas Little Lime is the more petite version and only gets 3 to 5 feet tall. They are both hardy in zones 3 to 9, so that is fantastic. Wide range, but they are great here in our North Carolina zone 7B climate. Another great reason, because they are panicles, they always bloom on new growth. What's so special about that? Well, in late winter, you are actually going to prune these hydrangeas back by 1/3, 1/4, and even you could even go more severe as to like half of the plant. This hydrangea behind me, last winter, it was like late January into February, I trimmed it back probably by like half of its current size, and it just flushes out in new growth in the springtime. Obviously, since it blooms on new growth, you get all of these gorgeous blooms behind me. Now, when you do prune them in the late winter, again, for us in North Carolina, that's about late January into early to mid-February. Not only are you going to prune them, but you're also going to go ahead and give them a nice slow-release fertilizer. This is just a great all-purpose one. I love using either plant tone or even rose tone for my hydrangeas. They respond really well. Now, with hydrangeas, you do not need to fertilize them past that point. So no weekly water-soluble fertilizer. They will actually stop blooming, so don't do that. But these guys actually also need sun. We think of hydrangeas needing shade. Some do need shade, but again, these are panicles and they need sun. Now, if you are in those colder climates, those zones, I would say like 3 through 5, they can get all day sun, full on sun. But here in the south, so zones maybe 6 through 9, they actually do a lot better if they get some afternoon shade. This sweet thing behind me will get sun all the way till about 1 o'clock, and then she is in the shade thereafter. This particular one is not on irrigation, but Limelights and Little Limes do like a consistent source of water. And again, especially in our southern hot climates, if you cannot give them afternoon shade, you've got to give them some water. And then that way they don't burn and your blooms turn brown. But Limelights and Little Limes, great creamy color that will eventually turn to a nice lime green, and then they can even turn to a rose and a pink in the late fall. So, #1 pick, Limelight and Little Lime hydrangeas. #2 on the list is Miss Molly Butterfly Bush. You cannot go wrong with a gorgeous butterfly bush, and Miss Molly is no exception. She will get to be about 4 to 5 feet tall. She is hardy in zones 5 to 9, and she will take all the sun that you can give her. Butterfly bushes absolutely thrive in the full, hot sun. We love Miss Molly because she is just kind of the perfect size, around that 4 to 5 foot range. These gorgeous raspberry colored blooms that the butterflies, the pollinators, your hummingbirds absolutely flock to. Butterfly bushes, again, are very heat and drought tolerant, and what's really unique about the Miss Molly is that this is a non-invasive species. So I know for some folks on our west coast, this can be a big deal with your butterfly bushes because they can be highly invasive. Miss Molly is not an invasive species, so that is wonderful news, and that you can have her in your garden too. Also, they like to have a nice sharp prune in the late winter. So like our limelights and our little limes, you need to prune them back. You need to, not, it's a suggestion, but you need to prune them in that late winter again because they bloom on new growth. So make sure that you prune them back pretty heavy. A butterfly bush can easily be pruned back by half of its size. Fertilizer, not so much. They don't really care about a good source of food. That is just how low maintenance they are. Very easy. The bugs do not like them. We love Miss Molly, so if you were looking to bring some big pops of color in your sunny location in your yard and you're looking to attract the pollinators, you need to go grab you one of Miss Molly. Number 3 on the list is Sprinter boxwood. Now I know some of you have some very strong opinions about boxwoods, and I suppose I can understand why. Well, Sprinter, I think, is going to break down all those barriers for you because possibly you don't like boxwoods because they can get diseases, or maybe you find boxwoods are going to be a little bit smelly. Well, guess what? Sprinter boxwood is actually a Japanese boxwood as opposed to an English boxwood. A lot of times around here we are used to English boxwoods. They have those really strong smell to them. I personally love them. I think I like them because when I was a child we go to the mountains and they had boxwoods everywhere, so those are some fond memories for me. But I understand that some of you just cannot stand the smell of a boxwood. Well, that's an English boxwood. These are Japanese boxwoods, so there's no smell. Also, it is highly resistant to any kind of diseases, including the boxwood blight. I know here we've had many issues with customers that have lost all of their boxwoods due to this disease. Well, Sprinter boxwood is resistant to that, so that is a fantastic news. It will grow to be anywhere 2 to 4 feet tall and wide. It is easily shaped. It does not get out of control, although it is a fast grower. So it will fill in your space pretty quickly, but once it reaches its mature height, it's going to be nice and contained and stay there. They are hardy in zones 5 to 9, and they can do sun or shade. What's not to love? An evergreen that can do sun or shade, does great in a container. It obviously does great in the landscape. I know we have customers at the nursery a lot of times looking to put something as a centerpiece in a large container. Sprinter would be wonderful, and then you can switch around the bottom of it for your annuals. So that would be a great centerpiece to put in there for your large containers. They also, because they're fast growers, that 2 to 4 foot mark as far as size, they will do a great hedge. So if you are looking to fill in a nice little hedge and make a hedge like a formal garden, then Sprinter would be a wonderful choice for you to choose from. It is actually, we're talking about this, an improved version of the old-timey winter gem boxwood. So it is a more improved, faster growing than winter gem, which you may be familiar with. So if you are looking for a fantastic evergreen shrub for your sun or shade garden, you might want to consider Sprinter boxwood. Number 4 on the list is Pearl Glam Beautyberry. Love this plant. Obviously, it's my top 5. It will give you 3 seasons of interest. absolutely a fantastic shrub that will actually be a little bit taller than it is wide. It is hardy in zones 3 to 8, and it will get to be 4 to 5 feet tall, but 3 to 4 feet wide. In the spring, from spring, summer, and fall, it puts on this beautiful purple hued foliage. Very, very nice. And then in the summertime, it will be covered in little white blooms. Then we head into fall, those white blooms will actually turn into an orchid colored little berry. Hence the name beautyberry, because it will just, the stems will be actually just covered in these gorgeous, deep, rich purple berries. The birds love them. They are fantastic for your garden. Because they are more upright than they are wide, you could use it as kind of as a specimen plant, or even put a couple of them together to form a kind of like a privacy hedge, and just a little enclosed area in your yard. Also, another great reason to have beautyberry in your garden is that they are a natural mosquito repellent. Yes, they will actually repel mosquitoes from your yard. And so they have been used in the South for many years, beautyberries have, to repel those mosquitoes. So Pearl Glam is going to be the exact same thing. They bloom on new growth. Typically, you don't really have to prune the Pearl Glam, but if you need to, you don't have to worry about that. Again, you can do it in late fall, and late winter, and not worry about losing your blooms for that season. Also, it was a great introduction for the South because it was actually developed by Dr. Ranney at NC State University. So Dr. Tom, I hope I said your last name right, but we appreciate you at North Carolina State University creating this Pearl Glam beautyberry for us, because she is an absolute gorgeous shrub that we love having in our garden. And rounding out my top 5 favorite shrubs for the South is the Chiffon Rose of Sharon series. Y'all, these are absolutely gorgeous roses of Sharon. They come in 3 different colors. There is white, there is blue, and there is magenta. So they come in just these gorgeous colors. The white is the purest white bloom I have ever seen. If you're looking to do a moon garden or bring some space, some lightness and some airiness to a space, you've got to get the white chiffon. Absolutely gorgeous. All 3 of these have a very fluffy center to them. Just a really delicate, sweet bloom on it. Just makes a big impact. The blue is just an exquisite shade of blue. And then magenta. Magenta is new this year. Just this rich, hot pink. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, things with the Chiffon series of Rose of Sharon. Roses of Sharon can get big, tall. So they can get like 8 to 12 feet tall, and they can get 4 to 6 feet wide. Now, if you are looking for kind of the privacy screen between you and your neighbors, you love your neighbors, they're great, but you need just a little bit of privacy. These would be fantastic, 3, 5, 7 of them planted in a row, and you would just have this wall of massive color all summer long, because they are very long bloomers. Just week after week after week, they just keep putting on blooms. Just like, so a Rose of Sharon is a type of hibiscus, and just like perennial hibiscus, hardy hibiscus, those blooms only last for 1 day. Same thing with the Rose of Sharon, but there's just so many buds that it's just this continuous cycle of new growth and all these new blooms. They do bloom on new growth, so if you need to give them a little prune in the late winter, you can do that. Again, if you feel like you need to fertilize, use that slow release fertilizer at that time when you prune them in late winter, and you won't have to worry about doing it again. They are just absolutely gorgeous. They have, I didn't tell you, zones 5 to 9. So again, we have a nice range of a growing zone that you can use them in. These Roses of Sharon have little to no seed set. So again, kind of like butterfly bushes for certain areas of the country, people get worried and concerned about Roses of Sharon that they're gonna have babies all over the place. Not so with the Chiffon series. Because they do have that fluffy little center, that means they produce very little seeds, so you don't really have to worry about them spreading all through your garden. They are low maintenance, high performers. They thrive in the heat and the drought Because you know here in the South it's like all or nothing. I mean, you have high heat, high humidity, you either have no rain or you have a ton of rain. They do well in all of those situations. Even our beloved Christine, she had a massive flood in her backyard from this massive rain. She thought she lost her blue chiffon. I mean, it just looked awful because it sat in water for a couple of days. As soon as it dried out, it just came back to life, and now it is full of blooms. So they are very hardy, very resilient, and do really well in our climate. And then of course they attract those hummingbirds and the butterflies galore to them. Now, one thing that I want to mention about all of these shrubs, minus the hydrangea, is that they are all deer resistant. So Miss Molly, Sprinter, Chiffon, and Pearl Glam are all deer resistant, which we get tons of people asking about, are plants deer resistant? Well, these are. So that is a win-win. But hopefully this is giving you some ideas, some inspiration for your garden this fall. Maybe you want to do all of them. That's fantastic. Maybe one just stuck out in your brain. Well, that's wonderful. Mission accomplished. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Make sure that you like this video. Subscribe to Gardening with Creekside. Welcome to the family. Y'all have a fantastic day, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much, friends. Bye.